Hey there, I just wanted to take a few minutes and make a video that introduces everyone to Nearpod. If you've already played with Nearpod, then you probably already know this, and if you are wanting to get started with Nearpod, I hope this is helpful. All of these things that we have learned, we've learned them as a team just by trial and error, trying things out, seeing what works and what doesn't work. So I'm going to show you the very basics for how to get started with Nearpod. So let me share what it should look like when you log into your Nearpod. First thing, be sure that you're using our school user account. Angie set it up at the beginning of the school year. It's awesome. It gives you access to everything that I've been able to find for free. So if you are looking for the pre-made lessons that are already put together for you, make sure you're using the school user account. Because if you go to this Nearpod lesson library, you can search for pre-made lessons by subjects, resource type, grade level. They have a lot of resources for pre-made activities. Great for activities to do while you're doing your data chats with other students. It's really great. Now, if you want to create your own, you have a few options. Your first option is to create a lesson in Nearpod. And Nearpod has its own slide templates, so you can add a slide. You can add content. So here's just a regular slide. But you can change your format over here. You can give a title. You can add a video. The only thing I've not been able to do is add a video in a safe share form. Like it'll search YouTube for you, but I haven't been able to figure out a way for it to search like a safe share. One way around that though is just to add a video onto your next slide. So if you'll save and exit, whatever you do to that slide, you can add images, text, things like that. If you do want to add a video in, you're going to go to add slide, takes a minute to remember where to go, add content, and then add a video. And then from there, you can put in a safe share link and have a video that is advertisement free. You can add audio. You can add a slideshow, so a presentation. If you add a slideshow this way, keep in mind that when you're sharing it as a teacher, the students are going to have to click through that slideshow on their own. It kind of comes in as a bundle. You can add a sway presentation. This is the virtual field trips that are really cool. A graphing calculator if you are a math teacher. And you can also add some web content. So you can add a website, things like that. You can add some activities, which are really fun, open-ended questions where they type in their answer. Matching pairs is really neat. So you put in what you want to match, and that's really cool. You can also do a quiz, multiple choice, a draw it activity. We use that a lot in the younger grades. You can do a collaborate board where they add their own ideas and it pops up on the board. It looks a lot like a whiteboard and their ideas just kind of get pinned up there. You can do a poll where you ask them a question and they choose their answer. And then you can also show your class the graph of their answers if you want to. You can add a little picture. I like the timer feature. Some other activities that are already built in. One fun one is the fill in the blanks. And also, let's look at the fill in the blanks. So you can put in the cat has a, and then maybe you want a hat here. So you click next, and then you click the word that you want to be filling in the blank. And then you click done. And then that activity pulls in right in your slides. Another fun activity is the memory test. I know first grade was using that to test on sight words. So all sorts of ideas, fun activities that are super, super easy to create. You can add in website links, videos, audio. So if you want to add audio to a slide, if you double click on the slide, it opens back up. And then you can add audio, which is really great for subplans. So you can go to audio recorder and you can record yourself and save that. And then you can just send the student-paced lesson to your students and they can go through it and listen to the audio. That way you're still giving them directions, but it's all student-paced. So that's one way to make your lessons in Nearpod, okay? If you like PowerPoint and you have PowerPoint lessons that you want to still utilize, you can add those to your Nearpod. You can either click Upload Files, or you can drag and drop a file. And sometimes it takes a minute to load, and sometimes if the PowerPoint file is too big, it'll ask you to convert it to like a PDF or a JPEG file, but it will usually work. Now, one important thing to remember when you are uploading PowerPoints and other files, you want them to go in, well, you most likely want them to go in as separate slides that you can walk through with your students. So be sure that when you're uploading your PowerPoint that you select to have it go in as individual slides. That way it's shown as a big slide that you can walk through on a teacher-paced lesson, a live lesson. You can walk through the slides with. Okay, and then when it's uploaded, just click OK. Sometimes it does take a few minutes to process. Okay, and then your slides pull in as individual slides that you can walk through with your students. If you want them to come in as kind of like a group, so maybe you want your students to read a story on their own. So you want them to be able to flip through those slides on their own. You're going to click Add Content, and you're going to add a slideshow. Maybe I want them to read Bob and Odo. Okay, so now that slideshow is embedded in my lesson. So if I preview it, we can go through the slideshow. So there's my fill in the blank and all my story. Skip to the very end. And these came in as individual slides. And then the slideshow part. And then when I'm going through the slideshow in my lesson, it'll have it as a clump of slides that the students can walk themselves through. So if you want to have them read a book or something like that, that's a good way to go. And then you just save and exit. Oh, you want a title. And I think you do have to put in the grade and subject. Let's put that in there. Okay, so that's one way to build a Nearpod using the Nearpod templates or the PowerPoint, if you have a PowerPoint. If you love Google Slides, there is now a way in Nearpod to build your lessons directly in Google Slides. The first time that you use it, you're going to want to come to your home screen in Nearpod. And if you click on the lesson in Google Slides, it'll walk you through adding the Nearpod add-on into your Google Slides. And it's actually really handy, especially if Google Slides is your forte. It might be the way to go. So this walks you through installing the add-on. And then once you have the add-on, you can get started. I even have like I call it a shell, it's like a lesson template that I have saved in my Google Slides. And it has all my slides that I like to add on to for my lessons. So you can save yourself a template if you want to, whatever you want to do. But if you are wanting to add in the Nearpod activities, you go up into add-ons, and if you've installed the Nearpod add-on, it'll be right here. Click on Nearpod, click open Nearpod, and then it brings up all of the activities over here on this slide. Oh, let's edit this lesson. Okay, so it brings up all of the activities that are in Nearpod, and you can add them right to our Google Slides. The only one that has ever given me trouble was the Draw It tool, because I thought if I just added a Draw It slide next to another slide that it would make it a Draw It slide. It does not. So if you want a Draw It slide, you're going to have to make it a separate slide and add a background, or you can edit it in Nearpod. That's the only activity that's giving me trouble in Google Slides. All of the others are there, so you can just click on them and add them, and it'll come in. Let's add a collaborate board. It'll come in as a separate slide in your Google Slides. So you would just enter all the information you want in there and then click save. And then it comes up as a separate slide. When you're all done, when you've added all of your activities into Google Slides, you just click save and go to Nearpod. And it'll come up right here in your library. When you create a lesson in Google Slides, when you want to edit that lesson, it'll pull you back into Google Slides to edit it. If you want to edit it in Nearpod and not Google Slides, you will just go up to the 3 dots and duplicate it. And then that duplicated copy will allow you to edit in Nearpod. So you can edit in Google Slides or you can edit in Nearpod that way. So those are some ways to build lessons. If you have questions with building lessons, let me know. I can't guarantee an answer, but we can work together and try to find an answer. Now, some fun things that we have figured out to create folders. I have my folders up here to organize my lessons. You just come up to this blue plus sign and you click folder and you make a folder. And then once your folders are created, or your folders created, go back to my lessons, then you can just drag your lessons into that folder. Okay, pretty cool, good way to organize. One issue that came up with us is during the class recording, if everyone's in Nearpod, how is it going to show up on the recording? We figured out a way. It's a little complicated, but you can do it. So what you will do when you're sharing your lesson, if you want to walk through a lesson with your kids in class, you're going to do the live lesson. So you're going to click on live lesson. I usually just give them the link directly and then they don't need a code. So you're going to copy that link, okay? And then what I do as a teacher, I have my teacher screen. And this is what I use, but I don't share this because it has the students' names on it. So then I will also use that same link that I gave my students, and I'll open up a student view. And then when I'm in Zoom, I just share this student view. And as I'm going through it in my teacher view, it moves along with me. So I don't really even worry about what's being shared in the Zoom room because I know I'm sharing my student view and it's going as we're going. Okay, so that's one way to get the images into your class recording. And then I also send, with my class recording link, I also post the link to the student pace version of the lesson. So if you click on where it says student paced, it'll give you, and once again, I always use the link. It'll give you the link for your students to go into the lesson and do it on their own, at their own pace. So students who are absent, a great option. You can see if they're doing the work because you can pull a report in Nearpod. So it's really pretty handy. Now, talking about reports, if you come down here to reports, you want to see how your students answered. You want to see if they did their student-paced lesson. You pull up your reports, you can see all of your lessons. This one was actually one that I did student-paced. So if you click on it, it brings up this blue bar. You just click on, I'm not sure which one it is. I think one's live and one's student-paced. And then it shows you, okay, these students participated, and this is how they answered. So I didn't have a quiz, so there won't be any data, but there was a poll, so I can see how they answered for the poll, and I can see who didn't answer. So maybe they just walked through the lesson, but they didn't participate. Okay, so that's one way to see who's actually doing the work in class. And I think that's about it for getting started with Nearpod. Feel free to holler at me if you have questions, and we can try to answer them together. Thanks, I hope you enjoy it.